Good job.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute honor to be here with Miss Pat Ives tonight. A little while ago, my dear friend Danielle Basso and I, we threw a heck of a party next door at Strawberry Hall. We had a whole steampunk festival. And I had heard rumblings around town about a lady who might have worked on an Ewok, on Return of the Jedi, small town, you know how rumors go, okay? So I tried to investigate, tried to, rub elbows with Pat, and I never could, kind of converge with her. And then at the steampunk event, I finally cornered her and I said, "You're the lady that worked on Star Wars, aren't you?" And we were off to the races from there. I came to find out that Pat was extremely involved in the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope. She worked directly with Lucas, and she was stunned to find out that there were people ravaged for this information that were more than just
Well, how do you
that there's legions of us who this is almost like religion too. I saw Jedi in the theater with my father in the 1980s, so this has been almost a 40-year kind of love affair. So I've got some questions prepared. We're just going to chat for about 10 minutes, and I want you to listen to Pat's stories because they're engaging, they're fascinating, and there's information that I'm getting from you that I haven't heard before, and I consider myself to be a pretty decent Star Wars fan. So I'm going to pass the mic over to you so you can be heard by everybody. So the first question is,
It's a Star Wars person that made it.
In Star Wars A New Hope?
I worked in the special effects department as an opaquer on the film. And people don't usually know what that is. It's a small job, but it's a very important one too. What I did was I was in a room the size of a closet, and the walls were white, and there was a bench, a reel-to-reel simple machine, and I actually handled the original film. And you would attach it on one wheel and then set it up here. And I had a magnifying glass with a light on it, similar to what jewelers use, because I was trained as a jeweler. I'm a perfectionist. I'm a very delicate touch. I'm an artist, so I draw with like really fine little black and white lines. Some of the stuff I do. And I had a friend. Actually, there's so much to the story. My friend Georgia went to CalArts, the Disney school, and there was an opening for someone to do an opaquing job. Someone had been doing that but had to leave.
Okay.
And they had to get somebody right away to do this. And she knew I wanted to work on any film that didn't matter what. So I said, well, let him try me. I think I can do it. So George showed me what to do. I'm gonna work with him like this every day, all day, over my shoulder. And what I had to do was, it was special black ink and a rapidograph, which is a very fine pen, a normal size pen that had like a needle at the end. And you dip it into special black ink. My job, was to look frame by frame through the magnifier and make sure things didn't overlap, the sky was black, there weren't any cracks in the film, everything looked, so it was QC too. Just make sure everything didn't run into each other and it just looked right. And what I was working on was about 20 minutes of the scene where Luke, it was an X-Fighter scene. So there was a lot of outer space, the Death Star, and these little X-Fighters and everything going on. And that took about 9 months. And tedious, long hours.
Not seeing you blinking and stuff.
Yeah. And we were there 12 to 14-hour days, and you did not leave until George said you can go home. So, but it was an experience, and I wanted to say I've worked on film. And he didn't tell us what it was about.
Yeah.
He said it was a space documentary. And when I signed up to work there, it was paid under the table. And he didn't say anything. He said, don't tell anybody about what you're working on. Whatever you see, say nothing. Keep quiet. And because at the time, Steven Spielberg was working on Close Encounters at the same time, and they were friendly rivals. And they wanted to get their film out first. And the guy that did special effects.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what was Spielberg working on? Was that one of the Indiana Jones films? Or no, did they work on that?
No, it was 77, that was close to count.
Oh, it's supposed to have. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay, one second.
So Spielberg and Lucas
Oh,
were friendly rivals.
they were friendly rivals. They wanted to get each of their films out first, so everything was hush hush.
Right.
And the special effects person that George needed to help him with Star Wars, Spielberg was using. So he had to do something, so he started a company, his own special effects house. And usually, when you do special effects back then in the 70s, it was per film, you did the special effects and then it dissolved after you're done. You know, so, or it was very expensive to hire someone out. And George saved a lot of money by using the Cal Arts students, which is the Disney school. Everybody was under 30 that worked on Star Wars. And the place was a big warehouse airplane hangar way out in Van Nuys in the desert. There was nothing, no stores, just a highway and flat for miles and miles.
And you know the reason why they named it Industrial Light and Magic.
Okay. It was zoned for light industrial. And so George said, hey, why don't we call it Industrial Light and Magic? And Magic was the special effects. So that's how he named the place. Yeah, and he'd do that a lot. There were a lot of things he would come up with like that.
So it's safe to say that you're one of a few people who saw the film for the first time before the entire world saw it through your device that you're using.
Well, just the 20 minutes. I couldn't tell what it was because remember, we thought it was a space documentary. At the time, it was nothing like Star Wars. No fantasy, sci-fi, or anything. Just documentaries. Very boring. 70s and very bland films at the time. And this was all completely new, and George invented all these things, you know, all the special effects. And the place had, the tables were like sawhorses, with plywood, I mean, really low budget. The students didn't care, they were working on something. And they all worked to satisfy George, because he was very particular, and he always tried to do the impossible, and he succeeded. Because the students wanted to work with him. And they were so incredibly talented. Coming from Cal Arts, it's like the best school. And they were way ahead of their time, really like 10 or 15 years ahead of their time. And the animation industry and special effects was ready for something new. But nothing could be done right away because nobody wanted to leave Disney. All the old animator guys, they stayed there till they were 90 years old. They didn't want to leave. There was good benefits. It was fun to work there. You know, it was just a great place. So these Cal Arts students had to just be patient and wait 10 to 15 years. And the animation you see now are those students where it came from originally.
Which is ironic because now, all these years later, Disney owns Lucasfilm.
Yeah, and I never thought that would happen, ever.
Did you, when you were doing this work, when you were working with George Lucas, did you have any kind of suspicion of the cultural impact and significance that this film was going to make for all of these years later and all these generations later?
Well, no, not at all, because he told us it's a space documentary and nothing else. He kept everything under wraps so much, so quietly, and I guess we were all kept so busy, we didn't really have time to question anything. You know, except in the special effects department, that one room, because they saw all these explosions and other things, so they kind of probably put two and two together. Whereas I couldn't tell what I was working on at all. So I didn't see Luke, I didn't see anything familiar. You know, and the only thing interesting though was the props and everything. When I would take a break and walk around, there were actually literally piles of props, like, you know, the stormtrooper white helmets, right? They were heaped in piles, just like chucked. It was like a 15-foot pile, like 20 feet wide, heaped near the garage door in the back.
Now they're there like sacred relics.
That's true. And like, you could actually probably take one. Maybe somebody did. And they were just sitting there.
And they're worth it.
And probably, yeah, they're worth a lot. And you see, a lot of the things you see in the movie were just laying around in heaps. And then the Dykstra Flex camera, I think it was called, which was invented. That was right outside the break room. And on the floor was the giant gray sort of the prop thing where, you know, when Luke goes through he's like in the fight scenes where he's going through the alleyways sort of thing, with the fighter thing. That's what that was.
I mean, that's iconic.
Yeah,
Like,
you
that's,
could tell,
yeah.
it just looked like packing for an electronics kit
Wow.
or something, you know?
Seriously.
And everyone would walk by and look at it and wonder what it was, and of course they said, no, never mind, you know, it's nothing. And eventually he covered it with a sheet to stop the questions.
That's neat. So what you're telling me is you didn't actually work on the cantina scene, so you can't tell me a pop shot first. I told you I'd die on this episode, okay?
I wish I could, I wish I had known what I was working on.
And well, the last question I have for you is this, and we're gonna wrap up with this. You know, we know that Los Angeles plays a big role in film, and Los Angeles itself is a character. You were in LA between 1974 and 1979, which was pretty, you know, was a pretty amazing time to be in Hollywood. If you could sum up that time in Hollywood, what words would you use?
It was still like good old Hollywood, like the what was it, the Rat Pack or the
Rat Pack.
Rat Pack, you know, with Frank Sinatra and everybody. It was still a very kind of a small hometown feel, to tell you the truth. It was quiet, it was safe, and it still had all the old architecture and just the way of life. It was slower and not as commercial as it is now. And it was like back in time still,
Sure.
like it was in the 50s, sort of.
Wow.
It was
So like the
very-
70s movies we're making now about Hollywood, pretty, you know, some of them can be pretty accurate, so.
Yeah, yeah. And after I worked on the film, in the mail I got invitation to the cast,
That's right.
to the cast and crew screening of Star Wars before it was going to, you know, be put out in the theaters.
Can I have you pause just right there?
Okay.
So she's being really casual about this, but she has an original 1977 invitation to the premiere of Star Wars: A New Hope. Right here, along with a button, along with a button that says "May the Force be with you." That was given out to cast and crew.
Yeah.
Okay, like, dude, like she wanted me, she handed it, I wouldn't take it because like this is a priceless artifact. Right here, you want to hold it up? So.
Actually, it was at the Academy Award Theater.
Academy, oh yeah, the Academy Award.
Yeah.
The theater itself had these like 15-foot tall gold Oscars on the side of the stage.
Yeah.
And the floor was like slanted and had red velvet seats, you know, really fancy. And we wondered, why is a space documentary showing in this place? And it was going on.
And all you have to, so this has the original artwork. This has artwork that I don't know if I've seen, or if I haven't seen in a while, but this is original from 1977.
Wow, actually 70s. Oh, yeah, 77. Yeah. It
Who-
was
yeah.
together at one point, but
It
it
was
says
together.
that you were invited to.
I mean, this is to me, as a fan, like this is a priceless artifact.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just a little logo thing in the back, and writing, and
You know, just a little logo thing of it.
and that right there.
Yeah. So this is. This looks more like Buck Rogers,
Yes.
or so it's Luke. Yeah, Flash Gordon. That's what I was looking for. It's Luke with a lightsaber. But if you think of the artwork, it's more in the vein of 70s sci-fi pre-Star Wars.
That's true.
So she brought this in, and I speechless because this is just really special.
Did you get the button?
And the button.
Wow.
Yeah,
And the button.
this was just part, I have a few other things that have to do with this, but this was just sort of like a paycheck stuff thing that you had to fill out.
Yeah.
You know.
And
I
that's
don't know
from,
why I kept it all, isn't it funny?
oh no, that's no. What does the top say? Oh, so that's from ILM. So right here, yeah. And with the original in Van Nuys, yeah, Industrial Light and Magic.
Did George sign
Yeah.
that?
No, I was looking for a signature, but I mean that would have just put it through the stratosphere. So, all right, Pat, thank you so much for coming and telling your stories and sharing with us. Somehow we'll get you to tell more, and we'll hear more of your story.
You know, next year, if you do this next year, I can continue the story and tell you more stuff.
Yeah, woo!
All right, so give us about 2 minutes, and we're going to start Force Awakens.
All right. Luna. Hi. All right.